All right, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to get into a variety of topics, but this first one we're going to talk about the brand new breaking news, I guess, a Tesla Model Y Project Jupiter. We already have the Project Model 3 Project Highland, and I guess now we've also got a Project Jupiter. I was really hoping for a project like Dolphin or something like that because that would be hilarious, but we've got Tesla Model Y Project Jupiter. We'll talk about what we know so far, and we'll talk about when this might actually be coming out, what type of horizon date or something like that. And so looks like Tesla's going to have a quite exciting next few years, at least through 2025. So we'll definitely get into it. But before we do that, let's roll that intro real quick. Thanks for watching another stream. Thanks for watching another video. My name is Dennis, and I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on a Tesla at the best possible price, or just getting really good financing on your Tesla. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link, where you can get the best credit union rates, interest rates on financing your Tesla, down below in the description, but more on that later. And thank you to my latest Patreon members that just joined within the past 24 hours. Kumar, Zach, thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining the Patreon, and certainly thank you for supporting. So let's get into this first topic. I know everybody probably wants to talk about Tesla Investor Day, but before we do that, let's roll through a couple of topics right before that. So let's digress a little bit, right? So Tesla is coming out allegedly with a Tesla Model Y refresh or revamp called Project Jupiter, codename, that's what it is right now. And what people are saying, or at least what Reuters is saying, is this might actually be coming out in the end of 2024. Taking a look at this, this is what we know right now, that the Tesla Model 3 Project Highland is supposed to come out sometime around September, and so of this year, at least in the China factories, and so probably America will come shortly right after that. But then looking at this is basically speculating that the Tesla is planning to build the car October of 2024, which would be, of course, next year or 1 year after the Tesla Model 3. And that's pretty crazy, right? That's right after a Model 3 launch of this year. That would be pretty close to a Model 3 and then a Model Y. So let me know your thoughts on that. Like, what are you thinking about it? Do you think, because there's a lot of people buying Model 3s right now, and there's a lot of people essentially also buying Model Ys right now, and to hear that, maybe a refresh is like just on the horizon, like maybe even next year, it's kind of interesting. But at the same time, like, we have no idea what they're going to do with these refreshes. The only thing that we've heard so far is that they're going to scale them, make them more efficiently, as they talked about a lot in the Investor Day. I think that was like kind of the key phrase of today's Investor Day. Let's just be more efficient. Let's scale down on costs and make cars quicker, I guess, at a faster pace. And so, that kind of looks a little scary. It sounds scary to me, right? Because, we already, if you've been watching the channel, if you've been following along, you already know my position on how Tesla vehicles are, they're certainly not luxury cars. And, they talk about this next Project Highland coming out at what? They didn't really talk about price. They didn't talk about anything about that. It's the next generation. It's gonna be quicker to build probably, and a lot cheaper to build. And so when I hear cheaper, I of course I think that possibly the brand will be getting cheaper as well. And we've got a Project Highland, which they're probably trying to reduce costs and make it more scalable, Model 3, and then also a Project Juniper Model Y. They're probably essentially going to do the same thing as well. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Put it in the comments, put it in the chat. We're going to try and streamline some of these topics through here, but let's take a look to see what. Shout out to Tesla Scope for posting this. If you notice, the article's timeline of production in 2024 matches the fuzzy timeline we're given and communicated in subsequent replies. Prototypes for the Juniper has been underway, but less progress than with the Model 3 Project Highland, already spotted in the wild. Yeah, because that makes sense. Of course, they're going to roll through the Model 3 first. It came out before the Model Y, and I would think they would give it like more years gap from this, because you got to think about it, right? So the Model 3 first came out 2017, 2018, and then the Model Y was like a 2020. So there's like at least a 2 to 3 year gap. So it wouldn't really make sense for Tesla to release them back to back, because I certainly feel like a lot of owners would rather just buy a Model Y instead of a Model 3. And so they would probably want to give it a couple of years of sales for the Model 3 before switching over to the Model Y, if you know, if that makes sense. And then TeslaScope here says, we only share news on Twitter because we adore the community here. We really only do this for fun alongside our web platform for vehicle owners. This is the same reason we've not explored creating a proper news section of our website, but despite being asked. I think what's going along right, what's going along right now, or going down a lot, is that a lot of influencers, a lot of Tesla influencers are getting denied to these Tesla events, because essentially a lot of these Tesla Twitters, they try and post news as quick as possible as they hear them, and so Tesla may not like that until it's official at the end of the day. So maybe that's why they wrote this section right here. But as you were joining in, as you always come into this channel, we're going to take a look at the market and see what type of inventory is actually out there. And so taking a look at the Tesla Model Y, there's still a healthy, good amount of Tesla vehicles right now. There's 230 Tesla Model Ys that are available for sale. Shout out to waitingfortesla.com. This is a third-party aggregator site where you can see all the inventory around you. And there's 18 long range available for sale and 212 Model Y standard ranges for sale. It's a good amount, good healthy amount. Switching to Model 3, there is certainly going to be a good amount at 193. And what's interesting is we're starting to see a handful of demos starting to trickle in. Demos plus demos equal discount. So you can see right here, this one only has 6 miles. I think this is the same one we saw yesterday. It's got a $640 discount on a brand new Tesla Model 3. And then jumping down here, we've got a bunch of two Model 3 performances, one with a $1,200 discount with 795 miles. Of course, this is a red one, and then a black one with a $420 discount. So, definitely interesting to say the least that they've come out with inventory discounts already, especially when inventory is relatively low right at the end of the day. And so if we take a look at the inventory charts, we saw this yesterday with all those Model Ys being dumped into inventory, and you can see right here we are seeing a lot higher than of inventory that we've seen in the past. So we're at 290 at one point of Tesla Model Ys being loaded to the site, and in the past we've only had 243 and then 227. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Let me know on Project Jupiter. Is this changing kind of your perspective on if you want to buy a Tesla Model Y now, or you don't even worry about it and they're just gonna have it? I mean, because you all know my stance on this. Like, just buy the Tesla whenever it's the best time for you, because there can always be another one after that, and you can never really time Tesla with all the different enhancements and everything that they do. And the funny thing is, they didn't really talk about hardware 4, right? I heard the question that got asked during Investor Day about hardware 4, but they did not say anything, or they didn't really address it, at least from what I hear from that. But we're definitely going to go through all the different Tesla Investor Days, and of course I want to hear from you all what your comments on Investor Day was. And I kind of know what the sentiment was already, but basically it was long. It was a long presentation at the end of the day. But we're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is the Patreon link, so definitely